What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be comparing the 2020 Volkswagen Tiguan to the 2020 Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport. So the two models I have in front of me here are the closest possible price points. The 2020 Tiguan is an SEL Premium R line and the Atlas Cross Sport is an SEL. So they're not the exact same trim level necessarily, but they're as close as possible price-wise, so I think it'll be an accurate comparison of what you're gonna get if you wanna spend the kind of money that both of these models cost. So again, we're just gonna kind of walk through everything that you get on the Tiguan, everything you get on the Cross Sport, and where the similarities and differences are. Let's get into it. So let's start up front, as always, under the hood. The Tiguan only has one engine option available, and it is a 2.0 liter turbocharged four-cylinder, 184 horsepower, 221 pound-feet of torque, 27 miles per gallon highway, 20 miles per gallon city. Now over on the Atlas Cross Sport, you have two different engine options. You have that same 2.0 liter turbocharged engine, but you can get better horsepower and better torque out of it. You get 235 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque on the four-cylinder on the Cross Sport, but this one again has the 3.6 liter V6, which has 276 horsepower, 266 pound-feet of torque, 22 miles per gallon highway, 16 miles per gallon city. So as far as engine options, Tiguan wins with that four-cylinder. Now again, everything I talk about in this video is on these specific trims and a comparison between these specific trims. So you may be able to get certain features on higher trims of the Cross Sport, things like that, but we're just talking about these two trims. So now as far as lighting systems go, they both have very similar lighting systems. The arrangement is a little bit different. So over on the Cross Sport, you have LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, LED tail lights, you have integrated fog lights, and they have the adaptive front lighting system with the corner illuminating features. Over on the Tiguan, you have LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, LED tail lights, and you have halogen fog lights, which are actually down here versus being integrated into the headlight cluster like they are on the Cross Sport. So as far as front grills go, they're very similar. They both have these chrome pieces that run across the front with the 3-bar kind of setup with the updated Volkswagen logo, which looks super clean. Now, obviously the Cross Sport's bigger, so it's got a wider grille. This one also has the R-Line badging because it's a SEL Premium R-Line. You have the same parking sensors around the vehicle that help with all of the different safety systems. One main difference here is that the Tiguan actually has the front-facing camera, so it has the overhead view cam 360 vision on it as far as safety goes, whereas the SEL Cross Sport does not. As far as other elements on the grille, you've got a body colored piece that splits the two parts of the front fascia here on the Tiguan. Same over here, but you also have this satin piece that runs across the bottom, which you do not have over here. You just have this all black grille. Now both these models sit on 20-inch alloy wheels with all-season tires. They have a little bit of a different look to them. The Tiguan has a two-tone machine finish wheel, whereas on the Cross Sport, it's kind of this satin silver look to it on the wheel, and I'll give you some shots of it here so you can see what we're talking about. Now, as far as the side mirrors go, you have body color side mirrors on both. They're half body colored, half black. They have integrated turn signals, blind spot monitoring. They're heated as well. Obviously, the main difference, like I mentioned earlier, is the Tiguan has the overhead view cam system, so it's got a camera underneath as well as puddle lighting, whereas the Cross Sport does not have either of those things. As well, the Tiguans are automatic folding, so when you lock the car, they're gonna go ahead and fold in, whereas the Cross Sport, they are manual folding if you wanna fold them in. Both of them have keyless access with the little touch button on the handles to lock and unlock. They both have silver roof rails. So you've got a panoramic sunroof over on the Tiguan as well as over on the Cross Sport. Runs the entire length of the body. Super beautiful design on both of them. Both of them have rain sensing windshield wipers with the heated wiper nozzles. So obviously one of the big differences between the Tiguan and the Cross Sport is just size overall. So let's take a quick look at the dimensions. Now the Tiguan comes in at 185 inches long, 72 inches wide, and 66 inches tall. The Cross Sport comes in at 196 inches long, 78 inches wide, and 68 inches tall. So the Cross Sport is about 11 inches longer than the Tiguan, about 6 inches wider, and about 2 inches taller. It's also a good bit heavier. The curb weight for the Tiguan runs between 3,757 pounds to about 3,847 pounds, whereas the curb weight of the Cross Sport ranges from 4,103 pounds to 4,411 pounds. All right, now jumping back to the tailgates, they're relatively similar. Now the Atlas Cross Sport juts out a lot more. It's got a much more kind of pointed backside right here, whereas the Tiguan is a little bit flatter across the board. You've got rear wipers on both. You've got hands-free lift gates on both. You've got parking sensors that run along the bottom, rear vision cameras on both sides. Again, LED tail lights, as I mentioned before. Volkswagen badging. You've got your SEL V6 badging, your 4Motion all-wheel drive badging. You've got your SEL badging over here again, and 4Motion all-wheel drive badging as well. So really, really similar as far as badging and look goes. Kind of even the same kind of LED tail light cluster design here. Obviously, they're a little bit smaller here on the Tiguan just because the vehicle's smaller in general. But yeah, very similar type of thing. You've got faux exhaust tips on the Cross Sport down here, whereas you have faux exhaust tips as well. Tiguan. So both kind of dual exhaust tips, but they're not real. But they look nice nonetheless. Again, you have a towing hitch on the Cross Sport, whereas you don't on the Tiguan. You get about 5,000 pounds of towing capacity with the V6. So that's a big difference there. Now, as far as cargo volume, again, they both have the hands-free lift gate, so you can press to open. Here is the cargo volume with the rear seats up and the rear seats down on the Tiguan. You have this lever that you can pull to put the rear seats down, almost like a one-touch type situation. You've got your all-weather mats back here. Underneath the fabric here, you also have a spare tire, a cargo shade, and all of your tools. You also have room for cargo net, and you have a 12-volt outlet back here. Over on the Cross Sport, again, you have that push button to open. Similar buttons on both sides to close. And you've got the cargo volume here with the rear seats up and the rear seats down. You have room for a cargo net as well. 12-volt outlet. You have your all-weather mats again. Underneath the fabric as well, you have your spare tire, all your tools. Now the only main difference here is in the Cross Sport, you don't have a lever to put the seats down. You have to do it manually. So not the best, but you know, it's not too bad. Again, push button to lower the gates. And that is pretty much everything here on the exterior. Let's go ahead and hop inside the cabin of the Tiguan. All right, guys, now that we're inside the cabin, I'm gonna walk through quickly what the Tiguan has, and then I'm gonna kind of switch over to the Cross Sport, and then I'll kind of do a summary and talk about what you get when you jump from the Tiguan to the Cross Sport. Not only as far as feature sets go, but also interior dimensions, because that's extremely important in this case. So starting up front, as always, we've got a leather-wrapped heated steering wheel here on the Tiguan, adaptive cruise control with stop and go. You've got your media controls. You've got your R-Line badging, since this is the SEL Premium R-Line, wiper light controls. You've got a Fender Premium audio system here in the Tiguan, auto-dimming rear view mirror with your universal HomeLink garage door controls, and your panoramic sunroof controls are up top. That 2.0 version of the digital dash with the physical gauges on the side, lighting controls. You've got an 8-inch infotainment center with radio, media, Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, navigation. Again, this has that overhead view cam system, so when you put the car in reverse and you open up the menu here, you can see all your different camera views and kind of switch between them and use the parking assist and all that kind of stuff, which is super handy to have. Moving on down, you've got your options for your heated seats. Again, heated steering wheel, heated seats for both the driver and passenger. No ventilated seat option, unfortunately. You have dual zone climate control here on the Tiguan. Moving on down from that, you have all your inputs and outputs. You've got 2 USB-A ports, a 3.5mm jack, as well as a 12-volt outlet and a wireless charging pad for Qi-enabled wireless charging devices. My iPhone 11 Pro Max fits just fine and charges just as easily. Push to start engine button, electronic parking brake, 8-speed automatic transmission with Tiptronic and sport mode. You've got your auto start stop engine button, you can disable that, and then you've got your overhead view cam button that you can just press to open up when you're in park or neutral. Additionally, you've got your drive mode selector. You've got snow, sport, custom, or off-road and off-road custom, and you can just turn that on or off right there. 2 cup holders, little pocket there for change. Inside the center console, nothing fancy at all. No ports at all, just a nice deep pocket. Inside the glove box, you've got your SD card slots for your navigation, as well as a CD slot and 2 little storage slots. I've covered all of this and kind of the nitty-gritty of what you get on the Tiguan in multiple different videos. I've got a full review of the SEL Premium. I've got a secret features video, part 1 and 2, link above if you want to check that out and go through. If you want to know every single little thing about the Tiguan, I've got you covered with plenty of content. So the interior has these storm gray leather seats with accent stitching. The driver is a 10-way power adjustable with lumbar support and position memory. The passenger is just a 6-way manual adjustable, but they are both heated like I mentioned. Now in the back, you have that same storm gray leather. You have rear vents with that dual zone climate control. You have a single USB-A port and a 12-volt outlet in the back. Unfortunately, you do not have heated rear seats. So the Cross Sport is kind of the younger brother of the Atlas, and it only has 5 seats available, whereas the Atlas has a 3rd row available, so you can go up to 7 seats. The Tiguan can either have a 5-seater or a 7-seater. This specific one I'm in right now, this SEL Premium R-Line, is only a 5-seater, which means it's going to have a larger interior volume. So let's go ahead and take a look at the interior dimensions of the Tiguan. Now this one's the 5-seater, like I mentioned. It has a total passenger volume of 101.1 cubic feet. It has cargo volume, like we mentioned earlier, with the seats folded down of 73.5 cubic feet. Now the front volume specifically is 52.5 cubic feet. Front headroom, 39.6 inches. Front shoulder room, 57 inches. Front leg room, 40.2 inches. Now as far as the rear volume goes, you've got 48.6 cubic feet of rear volume. Rear headroom is 38.9 inches, rear shoulder room is 55.8 inches, and rear legroom is 38.7 inches. So let's go ahead and hop over to the Atlas Cross Sport cabin. All right, so the Cross Sport cabin is noticeably spacier than the Tiguan, and we'll take a look at the dimensions here in a second. But you'll also notice some fresh redesigns when you switch from the 2020 Tiguan to the 2020 Cross Sport. Now, I think in 2021, the Tiguan will have this updated steering wheel design, but it does not yet have it. So it's pretty stark difference-wise when you jump from one to the other. So again, this has that redesigned Volkswagen steering wheel with the flat logo, the textured horn with the little satin U shape, and the leather wrap here. Now this is a heated steering wheel as well. It has dark accent stitching as opposed to the lighter accent stitching over on the Tiguan. You've got your adaptive cruise control, your kind of traffic jam assist, stop and go right there. You also have the media controls over here. So it's kind of a redesigned placement, but everything's kind of in the same place, but it just kind of feels fresher and newer, which, you know, this is a new model, so that makes sense. Light controls, wiper controls again. Past that, you've got that version 2 digital dash, just like we have on the Tiguan. No changes there, but this one does have the dynamic road sign display. So it'll kind of show you up top the speed and like, you know, if you have a stop sign coming up, different things like that. So that's a new feature here on the Cross Sport. Again, kind of just a much larger, you know, console area. So you have that same 8-inch infotainment center here with these same types of features. They look very similar: radio, media, navigation, Sirius XM Travel Link, Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You got your vehicle stats, you've got your images, you've got sound, climate control, all the same kind of stuff. One difference here on the climate control specifically is you have the new air care system. So if you go ahead and activate that air care system, it's going to use the interior air filter to filter out pollen and dust particles and things like that. You do not have that over on the Tiguan. Same dual zone climate control that you have over on the Tiguan. It's just a little more spaced out, a little more open feeling. You got your auto start stop button, turn off right there. You've got your hazards. Down underneath that, you've got your I/O, exact same I/O, 2 USB-A ports, 1 3.5mm jack, a 12-volt outlet, and a wireless charging pad for Qi-enabled wireless devices. 8-speed automatic transmission with Tiptronic and Sport mode, exactly the same. Push to start engine button, just kind of like a different placement, but everything is still here. Electronic parking brake, drive mode selector, just like we've got over there. Then you've got your parking assist button, and all you basically get with that, you don't get the overhead view cam system, you just get the display showing you how close your car is to obstacles using the sensors in the front and back of the vehicle. Center console is much larger here on the Cross Sport. I can fit my arm just about 4 times across the center console here, whereas I can only fit it about twice over on the Tiguan. Inside, you have 1 additional USB-A port that you do not have on the Tiguan, and you have this nice big open pocket where you could store all kinds of good stuff. Inside the center console, very, very similar look, but you actually have 4 SD card slots, whereas opposed to 2 over on the Tiguan. And then you have the 2 slots for your navigation and your CD slot as well. Another difference between the glove box between the Tiguan and the Cross Sport is the Cross Sport does not have the coin storage or the card storage that you get over on the Tiguan. Auto-dimming rearview mirror, but it's a little less fancy than the one over on the Tiguan, and you have no universal garage door home link controls. You've got your sunroof controls up here. Now, as far as seating options go, here on the Cross Sport, you have these Titan black leatherette seats with accent stitching, whereas you have the leather seats over on the Tiguan, but you have more power options over here on the Cross Sport. So the driver is a 10-way power adjustable with lumbar support and position memory, where the driver is an 8-way power adjustable. No lumbar support, but it is heated on both sides. So as far as the back of the vehicle goes, you have rear vents again with that dual zone climate control. You have 2 USB-A ports and a 115-volt outlet. All right, let's take a look at the Cross Sport's interior dimensions. Now, again, I mentioned this is a 5-seater. If you want 7 seats, go up to the actual Atlas, not the Cross Sport. But the total passenger volume is 112 cubic feet. So that's about 11 more cubic feet of passenger volume versus the Tiguan. Cargo volume is 77.8 with the rear seats folded down. The front volume is 58.5 cubic feet. The front headroom is 39.4 inches, front shoulder room is 61.5 inches, the front legroom is 41.6 inches. The rear volume is 53.6 cubic feet with 37.8 inches of headroom, 60.6 inches of shoulder room, and 40.4 inches of legroom. So I think the main thing that you'll notice as far as interior volume between the two is the shoulder room. The Cross Sport just feels a lot wider and a lot more spacious as far as the cabin goes, and you'll see that reflected in about 5 to 6 inches more shoulder room. The other dimensions are kind of similar, though. You only get about 0.2 more inches of headroom and about 2 inches more legroom. Now, as far as pricing on these two models, the Tiguan we have going for about $37,000 and the Cross Sport here for about $42,000. Now, we did have this Cross Sport listed a little bit lower, I think in May, than we do here in June. So they were a little bit more similar price-wise. So here are some of the benefits at this price point of getting the Tiguan. You get the overhead view cam, you get true leather seating surfaces, you get interior ambient lighting. Now it's only one color, it's just like a white light, but it's still nice to have that. You get a Fender premium audio system, you get a more advanced auto-dimming rear view mirror with universal home link garage door opening controls, you get better miles per gallon, you get power folding side mirrors, and you get the one-touch kind of lever that you can pull to drop your back seats. So a nice list of features there. And you also have the available 7-seater option if you need more space. Although, if you guys have followed the channel, you'll know I'm not a big fan of compact SUVs with third rows, but it is an option if you need that space. Now, over on the Cross Sport, here are some of the advantages over the Tiguan. First of all, total interior volume is just greater. You have a larger engine option at the 3.6 liter, so you have a higher towing capacity, more horsepower, more torque, but you do have worse fuel economy, as I mentioned earlier. Also, inside the Cross Sport, you get the redesigned Volkswagen steering wheel. Now, again, if you're watching this video in 2021, maybe the Tiguan has the same steering wheel, but as of right now, when I'm making this video, the Cross Sport has the redesigned, fresh-looking steering wheel that I really like. Again, you have that traffic jam assist that you do not have over on the Tiguan. You have the dynamic road sign display, which you do not have over on the Tiguan. You have a larger center console. You have more SD card holding slots inside the glove box. You have a 115-volt outlet, which you do not have over on the Tiguan. And you have that air care menu that allows you to filter out dust and pollen and stuff out of your cabin's air. So the question arises, should you buy the Tiguan or should you buy the Cross Sport? That is entirely up to you and up to your needs. Now, the main questions I would ask myself at this specific price point, comparing this Tiguan and this Cross Sport: how much space do I want inside? Do I need a 3.6 liter V6 with a good towing capacity? Is fuel economy more important to me? Do I need the overhead view cam 360 system? Do I want the updated steering wheel? Are true leather seats important to me? And how much trunk space do I actually need? Those are the main questions that would really help me decide whether I should go with the Tiguan or whether I should go with the Cross Sport. All right, guys, and those are the similarities and differences between the 2020 Tiguan and the 2020 Atlas Cross Sport. Drop a like on the video if you loved it. Tell me in the comments down below which one do you prefer, or is there a specific feature you wish that the Cross Sport had or the Tiguan had? Let's have a conversation about it down in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be among the first to see my full review and comparisons between every single 2020 and 2021 Volkswagen the second they hit our lots. We'll see you in the next one.